we are in the QBO gym, and this is where we have numerous hands-on exercises that simulate real-life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Each month covers a variety of new topics and scenarios, and to make it a little bit easier for you, we break it down into 4 different sections. So if you are looking to work on your bookkeeping skills, this is the place for you. And if you want to do an entire month's worth of these all on your own, be sure to join our free 5-day bookkeeping challenge. All you need to do is click on the link in the description. But let's go ahead and get into today's exercise, which is being pulled from our November cardio section. Go ahead and click on that. And here at the top, you can see there is an animated video that gives you a synopsis of what is going on in Craig's world this month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is an interactive pre-assessment quiz that relates to that video up above. Below that are the exercises in this section. And at the bottom here is an optional area where after you have gone through all of the exercises in this section and completed them, you will unlock some sample marketing posts that you can use on your LinkedIn to share with everyone what you have learned so far. So let's dive into today's exercise where we are going to practice time tracking and invoicing. Go ahead and click on that link to have the exercise come up for you. I have it here on the right side of my screen, so let's read through the scenario. Craig hired 2 temp workers to help with some jobs. He has asked you to enter their time worked, invoice the customers they worked for, and pay the contractors. Craig sent you an email with all their details. So to complete this exercise, you will need a copy of Craig's email. Click the link beneath the cardio video to grab a copy. So if I go back here to the top, this is the animated video, and below that is this button that says email from Craig. Go ahead and click on that button to download the email. Once you do and you open it up, this is what it will look like. This has all the information about the 2 contractors, their hours, who they worked for, other details, how much they're paid, and how much is the clients are being billed for. So feel free to pause this video so that you can read through the email. And we're going to move on. Now remember to be in the same session of the sample company that you did the previous exercise in. If you have not completed that one yet, go ahead and click on the link on the top right corner of your screen. That'll take you to that one, complete it, and then come back to this one. They build on each other, so it's important to start with the first one. I have the sample company here on the left side of my screen. This is the last page that I left off of from the previous exercise. So let's go ahead and get started with this one. If Craig were using QuickBooks Time, the contractors would be able to track their own time for you to use for the next steps. Since he is not, you will use QBO timesheets to track the contractor's time and mark it billable to the customers. The following steps will show you how to do that. According to the email, Bob Smith only did one job. You can see that right here on the email. You will use the single time activity for him. So we're going to click on the plus new button and then select single time activity. So if I go back here, here is that plus new button on the top left corner. Under team, select single time activity. In the name field, we want to select Bob Smith. So click the down arrow and then see he is here towards the top. Go ahead and click on him. Now, as a note here, the date is going to default to today. We're going to leave it as is for the purpose of this exercise. But in real life, whenever he actually worked, you would want to make sure that it matches right here. Now you'll use the details in the email to complete the rest of the fields. In the customer field, we want to select Diego Rodriguez. So in this field right here, go ahead and click the down arrow, and he is the 4th one listed right here. In the service field, we're going to select installation. So click the down arrow and then go ahead and select that. It's the 5th one on this list. Go ahead and do that. In the field next to billable hour, we want to verify that it says $50 since that is what Craig is billing to the customers. So we're here, we're going to uncheck the taxable checkbox. Go ahead and click on that. And that is because services are not taxable for Craig. In the time field, we want to enter the 5 hours that he worked. So click into it and go ahead and type 5. Now, note in a real life scenario that you would indicate the dates the service was performed. In the sample company, however, the dates are always changing, so we're just going to leave that date field as is, which is today, as I mentioned before. So nothing else needs to be changed here. We can go ahead and click on the green Save and Close button. That's on the bottom right corner. Click the down arrow, select Save and Close. And there we go. That activity has been saved. Now, since Keith did multiple jobs on multiple days, you will need to use the weekly timesheet for him. So once again, clicking on that plus new button and then selecting weekly timesheet on the top right corner, plus new, and then under team weekly timesheet. In the name field, we're going to select Keith Jones, and you'll probably notice that Bob Smith's name is in the name field, and that's because he was the last timesheet that was created. So all we need to do is click on the down arrow and then just scroll down until we find Keith Jones. Go ahead and click on his name once you find it. In the customer field on the first row right here, we're going to select Bill's Windsurf Shop, since that's what we see right here. So go ahead and do that. That's the second one listed there. In the service field, we're going to select installation, just like we did with Bob. So that's the fifth one listed right here. Go ahead and click on that. We're going to click on the checkbox next to billable hour. Go ahead and do that. And it should already show up as $50, just like we did with Bob, because again, Craig is billing the clients at $50 an hour. We're going to uncheck the taxable checkbox. So go ahead and do that because once again, services are not taxable for Craig. Now, if you are doing this exercise on a Monday or Tuesday, you will need to change the dates to the previous week because it says on here Tuesday and Wednesday are the days that he did it. So just know that if you're doing it on one of those dates, it'll be the previous week before you would just click on this down arrow and then select the week before. So in this Tuesday box right here, we want to go ahead and type a 3. Since that is how many hours he worked there for Bill's Windsurf Shop. And now we need to add the information about Cool Cars. On this time, it was 2 hours for Cool Cars. So in the customer field, let's go ahead and select Cool Cars. That's the third one listed there. In the service field, we're going to select installation. Click the down arrow. Installation is the fifth one listed. Go ahead and do that. Once again, we're going to click on that checkbox next to billable. So go ahead and do that. And once you do, the amount will show up here as well as this taxable box. We want to uncheck that taxable checkbox because the services are not being taxed for Craig. On the Wednesday box, we're going to type 2 for the 2 hours that he worked that day. And now we're showing here the 3 hours for Bill's Windsurf Shop, 2 hours for Cool Cars, which is what matches right here for the email. So now we can just go ahead and click on Save and Close. That's the down arrow down here on the bottom right corner and select Save and Close. And now that our time sheet has been saved for him. So now that you have entered the timesheets for the contractors, you can now invoice the customers. So we're going to click on the plus new button and then select invoice. That's the top right or left corner once again. Plus new under customers is invoice. Let's go ahead and invoice Diego first. So in that customer field, we want to select his name, click the down arrow. He is the fourth one listed right there. Once you do, his information is going to appear as well as this pop-out drawer that shows the installation work that we just added here. I think it was for Bob who had done that, if I'm correct. Yes, Bob Smith is the one that worked those 5 hours. So we want to add this to the invoice. The best way to do it is just clicking on Add. So this will put it in the first row here of the invoice. Now, Diego will need to pay for the rock fountain and the lighting as well, so we can easily add that. And that is what this information is right here. So on the second row in the product service field, we're going to select rock fountain. So go ahead and click into it, click the down arrow, and it is the fourth one on the list. Go ahead and click on that. The rest of the information will appear for us, and we don't need to do anything more. So let's go ahead and add the lighting. On the third row in the product service field, we want to select lighting. So click into it, click the down arrow. You can either start typing or you can scroll until you find it. It was I think the 5th one listed there on the list. Yep. Go ahead and click on it once you find it. Now, in a real world scenario, you would need to find out how much Craig is charging for the lighting because currently it shows the rate as 0. For the purpose of this exercise, we're just going to go with $100. So in that field, let's go ahead and click into it and type 100. Hit the tab key and you will see all of that information has been updated. The calculations have been done as well as the addition that we can see here for the total balance. Now we have another one to do for the next one. So we need to click on Save and New. So click on the down arrow right here. Go ahead and click on Save and New. And now that invoice has been saved and we can move on to the next one for Bill's Windsurf Shop. So click on in the customer field, go ahead and click the down arrow and then select his, which is the second one listed right here. You'll notice once again that the pop-out drawer is showing those the installation that we had entered previously, those 3 hours for Bill's Windsurf Shop. So let's go ahead and add it by clicking on Add, and this will put that charge on the first row of the invoice for you. Now, if we go back to the email right here, we see that for Bill's Windsurf Shop, we need to add a rock fountain. So on the second line in the product service field, let's go ahead and click into it, click the down arrow, and then select rock fountain, which is the 4th one on that list. Notice that the price is automatically entered for us, so we have nothing more to do here. We can go ahead and close out of this by clicking on Save and New because we have one final invoice to do. So click on the green Save and New button, and now that invoice has been saved. Finally, in the customer field, we want to select Cool Cars. So click the down arrow. It is the 3rd one on the list right there. Their information will appear for you, as well as this pop-out drawer showing that billable time for the 2 hours that Keith had worked for Cool Cars. And as a note here, it looks like we need to also add lighting to this invoice. So let's add the billable time first by clicking on Add, which is right there. It will be entered or added here on the first row of the invoice. Now on the second row, we want to select lighting. So click into it, click the down arrow, scroll down. It is the 5th one on the list. Go ahead and click on it. This information will appear for us, but just like we did for Diego, we need to enter the same amount in the rate field, which is $100. So click into that rate field, type $100, hit the tab key. You will see that it has been updated for you. The invoice is good to go. Now we are all done with creating the invoices, so we can click on Save and Close. Click the down arrow, and as a note here before we do, if you wanted to actually send these invoices as you are creating them, you would click on the Save and Send button and it would go directly to the customer. We can't actually send invoices here from the sample company, so that is why we are going to Save and Close. So go ahead and click on that. Now that invoice has been saved and we're done with those. The last piece of this process is to pay the contractors, which we'll do in the next exercise. But that is how you would capture you would do time tracking as well as invoicing. Now, if you like this exercise and you'd like to do more like it, be sure to join our free 5-day bookkeeping challenge. All you need to do is click on the link in the description. We're going to continue on, and if you want to join, be sure to leave this session of the sample company open, as you will need it for the next exercise where we practice paying the contractors. And I will see you in the next video.